Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. That's right, it's another Monday evening where we've got all kinds of news, sports, weather, and 2 movie reviews for you in the second half of the last hour of the show. So, Mike, let's start with you. What's the weather like?
The weather finally cleared up for me, anyway. It was raining all weekend. Disgustingly rain. Like, to the point, like filling up Lake Mead style rain. And today it was nice. A little cold. A little chilly. A little windy.
It was windy here. It was super windy here today. Rain.
Y'all get any tornadoes?
No, more people died from this wind than most tornadoes.
That's not cool.
There was I heard reports of everything from a 30 to 100 car pileup on I-55.
It was about 80. I think it was 80 something. I think
is that the dust storm that I just saw on the news? Yeah, they even made the news out here.
It's national news.
Mm-hmm. At least 6 confirmed dead on I-55 accident during sudden dust storm.
Yeah,
it's 30 injured.
It's getting to the point where there's no place that is safe weather-wise anymore.
So I'm building a bunker.
Mother Nature's coming to get you. Yeah, you know what? It'll flood.
Well, I'm building it up on top of a mountain. Building a bunker in a mountain. So that way I won't have to worry about it.
Too many movies, my friend.
Yes. I'm building NORAD 2.
I was going to say, you're basically buying NORAD at a government auction, aren't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. I figured it's it's proved itself several times over. I've seen the door in war games. It's pretty thick. I'm good with that.
Mm.
So, but yeah.
So, because that's a local interstate, so we'll say I-55 is the north-south interstate that goes from Chicago to New Orleans, and so it kind of follows the Mississippi, which means it's not one of the most important interstates because more of the traffic goes on railroad and the Mississippi itself than I-55. But it's my favorite interstate because it's the one that it takes me to either Chicago or St. Louis, which is always more interesting than Springfield.
Tell us how you really feel, Colin.
Oh, no. I like living in Springfield because it isn't interesting. And it's cheap.
Yes. Live someplace boring, close to someplace not boring.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but that's okay. You don't always want to live in the interesting places because those places have, too interesting of things. So, sometimes boring is good. Sometimes boring is boring, but sometimes boring is good.
Mama Blair says the dust storm's not uncommon around here. Seen lots of them in my life. You must slow down and not drive distracted. So what you're saying, what I'm hearing, is anybody under the age of 30 should not or does not have the ability to drive in a dust storm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they do not know how to not be distracted.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, it also depends on the age of the vehicle.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you put a 30-year-old in a deuce and a quarter and send them down the road, they'll be fine. 74 Cadillac with a Fleetwood where the trunk, you could fit a CRV in the trunk. They'll be fine in a car like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you're driving a newer car, like Shaggy's new car and my car, if you're distracted, the car will figure it out and stop for you. After it flashes a light at you like, hey, stupid!
I've turned off a lot of the stupid lights in my car now. It had a stupid light when you parked and turned off the car to remind you of things in the back seat. Like people.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Specifically little people.
And if you had a baby in the back seat, that's a very useful feature.
Why?
But when it's
you have
groceries,
a baby in the back seat. You shouldn't need your car to remind you that you have a living being in right behind you. 3 feet behind you is a living, breathing thing. I shouldn't need a light on the dash and a ding to tell me that there's a living, breathing thing that is part of me behind me when I pull into a parking spot.
You shouldn't, Shaggy, but you are, in fact, a human being. And human beings...
You're alive. Your 2 sisters
Yeah.
are alive. Okay?
Yes.
You have nephews that are alive, I presume. We didn't have little dingy lights to tell our parents, hey, there is a human being behind you. Don't roll up the windows in the summertime and leave it there. All right? Maybe this is a sign that stupidity should have an end date. You know, maybe there's an expiration date, a sell best if sold by. And
I do not know what exactly where that term came from. Stupidity should have an end date. That I'm not quite sure. However, you do realize that idiocracy is slowly coming true.
Yes, I know, and that's the scary part.
So here's my. I see both sides of this. However, there's part of me that says, if you cannot remember that your child's in the back seat, that you had a child, then you probably shouldn't have had a child. Which I know is going to go off on. There's tangents that can go off from that one. But then there's the other side of me that says this is just one more thing that people will rely on so that they do not take responsibility. The first time somebody has a car that has one of these warning systems and they leave their child in the back seat and the child dies, they will blame the warning system, they will not take responsibility. And this is a general problem I see with most people in the world today, that they don't take responsibility for their own actions. If you screw up, you screw up. As Colin said, we're all human. But if you screw up and you're always blaming someone else for allowing you to screw up, that's pretty much the downfall of civilization right now.
I mean, if we have to have a factory recall because the dinger doesn't work not 100% of the time to let me know that there's a kid behind me, then that's going to be a problem. I'm going to have an issue with a factory recall that the dum-dum dinger doesn't work.
So here's the thing. I was just looking at the stats. And the official stats only go back to the late 90s. But the numbers are actually very consistent. So median, it happens about 38 times a year.
Yeah, about 40 children a year die from heat stroke.
So extrapolating that back, I'm going to assume that number is actually pretty consistent going back to when we were kids.
And let's see here.
Well, if that's the case, then you could extrapolate that that ding doesn't really change anything either way.
We don't know yet because it only exists in Shaggy's car.
And Shaggy's figured out a way to turn it off.
Damn, Skippy.
Shaggy figured out how to turn it off.
So,
well, let's see here. Just looking at child mortality rates. Accidents, about 3,300 a year. Cancer, about 750 a year. Homicide, about the same amount. Heart disease, just a touch under 500 a year. Why don't we have dings for those? I need a ding and a light for those.
Well, because most of those we do, and the name of that ding is doctor, whoever your doctor's name
Influenza
is.
and pneumonia. Why don't they put a ding in the car to say, hey, dummy, get your kid vaccinated, every time you stop the car?
No, because you can't use the car for that, because then you are discriminating against people that can't afford cars.
Well, put a ding on the bus.
Listen.
Put a ding
I was
on
okay with Obama phone. No, listen to me. I was okay with the Obama phone. I'm not okay with the Biden sedan. All right? Let's be real clear about
this. It would be a Biden station wagon. It would be wood-clad on the side. I guarantee it.
So,
the moment they figure out...
Good.
The moment they figure out how to put the James Bond auto-injection system into the glove box to give you the flu injection, then that's when they'll give you the flu ding in your car.
Yeah.
So this is interesting, and being from Jersey, you guys will have to explain this to me. We were driving on an east-west highway when this happened on the north-south interstate today. We could see the dust storm from where we were. Some people are blaming farmers for this, but those particular fields have been planted for 2 weeks. It's hard to tell how many miles this dust has traveled. Are you saying, is the theory that because farmers tilled the soil, that loosened the dust and amplified the storm? Is that what the theory would be?
The story...
till up their fields. When they till up their fields and they turn them over, it does create a large cloud of dust. I have seen that firsthand. It can be a little annoying. However, it is not to this degree. All right. And they don't say, hey, let's do it on a 100-mile-an-hour windy day. They don't go looking for days where it could cause an accident. I mean, they have to do it when they can. And, well, it rained yesterday, or it rained Saturday night. So they couldn't get to the fields on Sunday. So they got to the fields today when they were dried out. So,
what the solution to this is? To build big-ass skyscrapers along the highway.
To block
to act
the wind?
As windbreaks from the field.
That's
what Jersey did. However, then what happened was these skyscrapers, they made residences out of them. And people need stuff. They need food, like food shopping. They need clothes. So they had to pave over the farms in order to build shopping centers to support the people and to give these people jobs so they have some place to work from the skyscrapers. So New Jersey used to be all farms and the windbreak idea worked, sort of. Maybe that's why we don't have dust storms in New Jersey. I don't know.
So what happened here is when this story first broke, people were saying that it was a farmer out in their field doing something which caused the dust storm. Now that turned out to be not the case. That those fields were planted a couple weeks ago. So there wasn't a farmer out there doing something that caused the dust storm. It was just a 40-mile-an-hour wind. And the thing about 40-mile-an-hour, once the dust is in the air, a 20-mile-an-hour wind will keep it in the air. So you just need the fast wind to get it up there in the first place, and then it'd be about. We have no idea where that dust came from. It could have been a field miles away.
It could have come from a dust storm lab in Wuhan.
Yes, it could have. The Wuhan Dust Research Lab. Could have.
Too soon? No, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
No, so people actually thought that one farmer. Okay, that's God, idiocracy is coming true.
Yeah.
So speaking of,
they thought that one farmer was out there tilling their field, and that caused like a big plume of dust to go across.
He was an easy mark.
It was not one farmer's worth. It was several miles worth of interstate is covered with dust right now.
So that was going to be my next question was, they're making it sound on the news here. They're making it sound like the dust cloud. It was like a scene from The Mist or The Fog or so, and somebody at the beginning of this thing was like, had his family with the revolver and ran out of bullets, and then the cloud disappeared. They made it sound like it was huge, and that's why I was
it's pretty huge, and it's still. I think it's still going. They're hoping that it's going to die down here overnight, so they get all the cars out. Right now, it's basically the interstate is still covered with vehicles because it's been too dusty for them to actually get them all pulled out.
Yes, dust is a major problem.
And smoke from the big fires. Yeah.
And this is the part that I don't understand is because all we are
is dust
in the wind.
I know. I mean, we're all just space dust.
We're all just ghosts piloting meat-covered skeletons. That's all it is.
Well, speaking of that. Speaking of dust in the wind, Mike, I have a question for you. When you, because you and I are the two married ones on the show. Now you and Mrs. 8-Man had a very elaborate wedding and wedding reception. You guys kind of went all out.
Sure.
Did you guys write your own vows?
No, we used it was almost, for lack of a way to put it was almost like Mad Libs, where we pick and chose from vows that our officiant provided to us.
Okay. So you picked a noun, a verb, and an adjective, and off you went.
We picked the sentences from the vows, and we kind of tweaked them a little bit. I tried to slip the word obey in, and
I bet that went over
like a
lead balloon.
That went over like a fart in church. I mean, that was terrible.
See, because I bring this up because my oldest stepson got married on Saturday. And it was like,
congratulations.
I think a drive-through wedding would have been slower. This wedding was 4.5 minutes. I mean, there were NASCAR pit stops that took longer. That's what this wedding was, short. And my wife, and I think my wife and I's wedding was actually a little bit longer, and we went to the Justice of the Peace. We went to the courthouse and got married. So
wow,
that's kind of what it tells you. So, which fine, that's what they wanted to do. They whatever, to each his own, I guess. But a couple weeks ago, and we're a little bit behind on this, but there was a couple who decided to make their own vows, and sometimes you get people that do their own vows that go way overboard. Right, it's like, okay, this is a sappy love letter, and other ones you get where it's like, okay, this is going to be, somebody's just trying out stand-up bits and whatnot and whatever. So I mean, it was, you kind of run the gambit of what it is. This one is being kind of called the cringiest wedding vow ever, and I don't know. It's probably pretty close, I would say. But I'm pulling it up here because I happen to have grabbed it, and I'll let you tell me what you think is if it is one of the cringiest ones that you could ever think of, because it is pretty bad. So here we'll give this a listen, and you guys tell me what you guys think. All right. And hopefully, let's see here, we'll make sure this is on this, and we might get a little bit of an echo, but it'll be worth it.
Well, you're amazing at half of it. We really need to get you some cooking lessons.
A couple of days ago, a lot of you may have seen it already, but it is this man who is degrading his wife at the altar.
Anything you want to say to your future bride?
I hope we have a lot of
You're screwed. Only two things are required to keep me happy. Keep my belly full and my balls empty. Well, you're amazing at half of it. We really need to get you some cooking lessons. Even when my belly isn't full, there is no one I could ever love more in this lifetime, unless I actually get a chance to meet Margot Robbie.
Now, by the way, I should mention, the officiant is the groom's mother in this. So not only just listen to what he's saying, but imagine that it's his mother that's standing there while he's saying it.
I just want to say that I'm watching this video and I can smell the freaking patchouli on these people.
Yeah.
Somewhere one of these guys has flannel underwear on because he looks like the type of guy that can't be without flannel for a day.
Yeah, so here we go. It gets better.
Since the beginning, I was always told life gets even better when the kids fall asleep and you tell me to come to the bedroom. Nothing's better than the sound of gagging and headboard slamming.
Michael.
P.S. Since you're so good at making decisions like marrying me, you can choose whether tonight's going to end with being a toaster, strudel, or a Twinkie.
There was more to that, but those were the cringiest parts, but I guess he laced them throughout the vows. Mike, what would Mrs. Hate Man have done if you'd have come up with vows like that?
Oh, there wouldn't have been a smile.
There wouldn't have been nervous laughter?
Oh, no. Oh, God, no. All right, so the other thing that, as I'm watching that I'm looking at and I'm saying to myself, they look to be part of that generation that feels the need. Everything has to go on TikTok or Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get hundreds of views, it doesn't mean anything. I feel like that was completely staged.
Well, the mother's reaction sure wasn't staged. That was pretty, the way that she went, well, Michael.
No.
If your mother...
I have a feeling
If your mother went, Michael.
I have a feeling she was in on it. I have a feeling she was in on it.
I don't know.
Maybe did not know what the extent was going to be, but it would not surprise me if these people did this so that they could get views and go viral and try and make money off of this.
Well, here's the thing. They didn't post this.
My faith in... Who did?
The photographer.
Wait, who?
The photographer posted this.
Of course the photographer did, because the photographer is... The photographer wants his name out there when this goes viral. This way he could be, oh, yeah, you've seen my work before.
Because he's like, I knew this was going to be a train wreck kind of from the beginning. Meanwhile, he posted the whole clip. Hers were very heartfelt and, emotional and everything, and what you would expect.
Of course, because she had purple hair.
Yeah.
Now, I have just realized we are not even a half hour into this show.
Mm-hmm.
And twice I have expressed my distrust in the younger generation, both at driving and now in just life.
It's not going to get any better.
So, it's not. Trust me. Trust me, it is not.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Kim would
have punched you in the face.
So you know how some wedding ceremonies they have, like, they light the unity candle.
Oh yeah.
They both take they light the same candle at the same time, and okay. Mm-hmm. Well, Kim and I did a wine unity. So instead of lighting candles, we each poured from our bottle of wine into one glass, and we each drank from the glass.
Okay, that's different because I've seen the candle, I've seen sand, but I've never seen wine.
Now, there's an infamous moment in our wedding video where right before we go to turn to each other and say the vows, because we did the drink before we turn to each other and say the vows, I literally went like this. You see me, and I take a drink because I was choked. I was ready to cough. Well, Kim, not to be outdone, grabs the bottle and starts guzzling down off of the bottle. I said, all right, okay.
Hey, that's good. That's all right. That's an ad hoc that you're fine with,
Yes.
But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I saw that. I heard that clip, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is insane.
So let's see. Okay, here's let's just really push my hatred for young people here.
Oh,
so
here,
while we're talking about cringeworthy,
Mama Blair writes in that they edited their vows when they took it. When they got married too. So, Mike, you guys, you weren't the only one, who either tried to sneak in the old obey or the other one tried to take it out or whatever. I mean, I don't even remember honestly what was said at our ceremony or our, like the courthouse. The judge actually did a really good job. So, but yeah, details don't remember.
Okay. I witnessed such a wedding that included the owl and the pussycat and ended when the bride and attendants jumped into the pool in all their finery. The grandfather gave a speech that included, for as long as this marriage lasts. It lasted 1 month.
Yeah, I helped DJ a wedding where all the groomsmen jumped into the pool. They did a reception back at the house. They rented the parents like completely remodeled their backyard, complete with indoor swimming pool house. They had this big tent out back and everything. So we had to have like double setups. It was ridiculous. All the groomsmen jumped into the pool in their tuxes. And the dad's like, I'll pay whatever the damages are. I'm like, wow, must be nice.
Yeah. Where were you reading that from, Mike?
That was Mama Blair.
Mama Blair.
Okay. I didn't remember the jumping into the pool part, but the rest of it I remember.
Yeah. Yep. Oh.
So, speaking of young people, didn't you have a story for that?
Oh, stories.
Yeah, I have a story
for young people. We have tons of stories about young people.
I saw some other story somebody posted on young people being stupid.
What do you want to talk about? The brain cancer thing, or the?
That one just destroys me here.
Yeah.
So we've got. Please go ahead, because I.
So this came to us from Yahoo Lifestyle, and it says, the title of this episode is "I loved my fiance, but after his brain cancer diagnosis, I knew I had to leave him." Okay, this is a person who doesn't understand what love is. First of all right, let's just get that out there right away. All right, but she talks about how her partner of 2 years found out that he had stage 4 brain cancer, and she goes on in this article about how they thought their life was so full of excitement, and they had plans and all these other things, and then she realized what her life was going to be like with him having stage 4 brain cancer, and she realized that she wasn't going to be able to have that life. She was going to be stuck taking care of him instead. And that, within about a month, he was vomiting all the time. We had planned a few trips abroad, but had to cancel because he felt too unwell. So they knew they had planned to get engaged, but just a few weeks after our engagement, we received the really devastating news that more detailed scans showed that the tumor was, in fact, wasn't benign, but it was a rare type of cancer in the central nervous system called medulloblastoma. But anyway, she was going to leave him while he was in the hospital recovering, but she waited until he got home instead. She said, "I can't see a way I can be happy with you anymore." Boy, that line just really, killed me. It just showed me that she was a
I quickly
selfish
skimmed through here. So I quickly skimmed through because they wound up staying friends afterwards, after the surgery. And I kind of feel, so a couple of the comments reading through saying, I don't know what she felt for him, but it wasn't love. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. And reading their age, because, yeah, they were in their mid-30s when this happened. I think when you are at that age, and with the odds he was given, I can't honestly say I would have done anything different. I may have broached the topic a little closer or a little cleaner, but if you know that you cannot provide for someone the way they need to be provided for, are you really being heartless by walking away? I mean, because all you're going to do...
If you were to walk away, no. But she's still, sticking around. And this half a foot in, half a foot out.
That's that I agree with. That I agree. You have to make a choice one way or another. That I 100% agree with. There's no leading on in this situation. That's unacceptable. But it's tough. I mean, the part of you that wants to do the right thing or wants to do the feel-good thing even is going to say, oh, no, I would stay with that person. But when you're in those shoes, I'm not going to lie. I'd have to really, really think about it. What are the consequences here? If you're talking about we're 37 and I'm committing to spend the rest of my life changing your diapers and helping you and do all of this stuff, it's different once you're married. And this may sound really crass. If you're already married and stuff happens, you've already made that commitment to that person. They weren't married. They weren't even engaged yet.
Yeah, but then she got engaged.
Did she?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, it says I love my fiance. Yeah, okay. So,
shouldn't have gotten to that point.
Well, I agree with you there. And Mama Blair wrote in and said, yeah, lucky him, he dodged a bullet. Yeah, maybe you're right in light of that she should not have gotten engaged in the middle of all this. And that's partly on him, too. Because then she's going to feel like even more of an ass if he asks, oh, I'm dying. I just want to spend out my days as your husband. And no. How's that going to go over?
I mean, you're right. Nobody knows exactly what
you're backing her in a corner then. I mean.
Well, but if she wasn't, displaying all that, I don't know. I mean, you're right. Nobody knows exactly because they're not in her situation. But it does, on the surface, it seems a little selfish. So on the surface, it does appear that way.
No, I am not.
I am not saying
that this story went.
Yeah, I think since we're talking about someone who actually hadn't married yet, I think it could be argued that going ahead and getting married anyway, even though you know that you can't actually do that. That's just going to make everybody miserable. Is more selfish than calling it off and saying, this is not going to work. We should not go on with this.
Well, I understand that, and I get it. I don't like the way that she then, goes on to run marathons in his name and do all that. I think the breaking up, that's one thing. It's this half a foot in, half a foot out thing that I don't like that she did later.
Or
that she continues to do.
But they could, well, if they remained friends or remained civil, is it still a romantic
How many people
type
did you get engaged to that you remained friends with, Mike?
I could turn around and ask how many people you've ever been involved with that had brain cancer.
I'm just saying, it's just, I don't think that's that just seems like,
I have had folks that I've had girls that I dated that I still spoke to afterwards for a while. I don't talk to any of them anymore just because they moved on, I moved on and all of that. That's fine. But I have exes that I can be civil to. I have exes that I wouldn't piss on if they were on fire.
Yeah.
So there are two ends of the spectrum here. So the closest I can come to this, and I can't even confirm what it was, but I know that a girl I dated back in right after high school, I know she had some kind of medical problem. And I don't know if she had a stroke or something similar. And I often, I don't wish hateful anything on her. And if I saw her, I would be civil. I'd be genuinely concerned about how she was doing. Doesn't mean that there's still feelings there, because there's not. And I'm not trying to be her best friend. But, if I did find out later on that something happened, that it was cancer and she passed away, would it be wrong for me to try and honor a memory by, participating in some kind of walk? Because, I don't run, but I guess part of it's on him too. And to what degree are they still involved? Do they talk on Facebook, or is she dangling the carrot in front of them that they may get back together someday? I mean, that's where it's not clear.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just, I think
there's that hypothetical. What if they do get back to it? Maybe he kicks the brain cancer and they get back together. Is that what it was?
I don't get that feeling from the article.
Oh, no. I'm saying it's a hypothetical. In this situation, if we're looking at, okay, you have cancer, you might die, and so we're going to cancel the marriage because, this is not what I signed up for. And I really haven't committed to the sign up yet. But, kick the cancer, anyway, just, it's an interesting scenario.
Interesting. So I was just looking something up. So there's a paper out of Frontier Science magazine. It said the divorce rate for different types of cancer. So for breast cancer, about 14.8% of patients who are married get divorced. For prostate cancer patients, about 7.7%, and for colorectal cancer patients, it's about 18.5%. Get divorced. So, but, the majority of couples find their way through it. The experience even strengthens their bond in most cases.
Well, is that better than the just general divorce rate?
It is. It is. General divorce rate is slightly above 50% right now, I believe. Divorce rate in U.S. Current divorce rate in the U.S. is 2.3 persons per 1,000 people. Overall is, actually it's falling among people age 50 plus. Oh, but it's rising among people 50 plus. So if you're 50 and below, you're in good shape. If you're above 50, watch out. So
you know what percentage of that is the same thing? You know, your partner gets Alzheimer's, you're actually still. I mean, if you get early onset Alzheimer's,
yep,
and maybe you're younger, and well, they're gonna go off to a nursing home, and not even remember who you are. I don't know. It's a weird situation to be in. So actually, I kind of see that.
But yeah, in general, it is trending downward, which I guess is a good thing. So, but actually, it may be a hidden statistic though, because the number of marriages that are occurring are also going down. So it could just be that the number of divorces are going down because people just aren't getting married.
People are making better decisions in the first place.
Well, or just marriage is falling out of fashion. We've already seen that. Again, Mike, to your point with the young people, millennials are killing marriage just like they killed off, TCBY and TGI Fridays and, the real estate
gasoline
market,
cars,
and diamonds and everything else, So, yeah.
And, okay, so and Mama Blair wrote in, okay, turn it around. What if you were in his situation? Would you want someone to stay with you out of pity? No. And that's kind of where I was going. And yeah, I kind of think that's what you were alluding to with the he dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Because at the end, even if, all right, if he is not 100% after surgery, and he's not, I sent you the link to her Just Giving or whatever the heck it is over there. And he ran the last 2 kilometers of this run with her. And there's a picture of the two of them, I guess, at the end. And yet he's still got paralysis in his face and he's still got brain damage. So even if they were together and he was, I'm going to say 90% functional, I can guarantee there would still be some form of resentment there. Because of the what if, what did I miss out on?
Yeah. No, like I said, I think it's just the title threw me for, No,
it's an interesting conversation. It really was because, like I said, until you're in that situation, this is like being like somebody pointing a gun at you. You never know exactly how you're going to react. Are you going to just stand there? Are you going to piss yourself? You don't know until it actually happens. Right?
And Mike, you and I have been in not the same situation, but we've been in, I think, similar situations to this before. You with your grandparents, and me as well. Taking care of people who can't take care of themselves, or at least checking in on them as often as possible. Basically, putting your life on hold for somebody else's. It's not an easy decision to make, but you make it because it is in the best interest of the person that they are, So, it's
right.
It's just one of those things. I mean, I did it for both of my grandparents. I did it for both of Angie's parents, So, it's just to me the right thing to do, and it's not.
There
easy.
is a difference.
And there's probably a difference when you know that there is a finite amount of time left.
Well, there's a difference between want to and have to.
Yeah.
And there is almost a direct correlation between where on that scale you are and the amount of resentment that you have for the person. At some point, anytime, the closer you are to have to, the more likely you are going to be playing the why me? Why did it have to get this way? Why didn't this person do X, Y, and Z instead to take care of themselves? Why didn't they go do this sooner? All of those questions are going to come through your head.
Yeah, maybe. In some cases, there aren't any answers, but, I get what you're saying.
Just because there's no answers doesn't mean you're not going to keep asking the question.
True. Speaking of questions and answers, how many people got told that, you don't tattle on folks when you were younger? Colin, you grew up with 2 siblings. You probably know that you're not supposed to tattle on your sisters when they do something wrong.
Well, I think it was a dull tattle when all you're doing is being annoying. But
Mike,
as the older brother, is more of the I was told enough for responsibility, not the one that is being told not to tattle.
Mike, how did you deal with did you have to deal with tattles?
No, not particularly, but looking back on my childhood, I was following rules more than others. So when I saw rules being broken, I was quick to say something. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's
yeah.
And I think part of that, honestly, if I was going to get analytical about this, part of it is because at the time I was one of the only kids in the school in a single parent household.
Could be.
Which to this day, I was treated different even by the teachers. And to this day, it still kind of messes with me sometimes.
So this teacher, there's a couple of different teachers that are doing this, but one teacher started a TikTok, and she came up with tattle sheets and a tattle box. So if you wanted to tattle on someone, you had to fill out a form. Basically, it was like a suggestion box. So you had to say what your name was, who you were tattling on, what they did, and whether you talked to them first or not. So this is obviously for a grade where they were starting to write, but not too far into the grade level. So I think this is like first or maybe second grade at the most. So I'm gonna read you through some of these because some of these are really great. So here's one. This person was tattling because someone else was stealing their shapes. Someone else. Describe my in them crayons and poo. Oh, snapped my crayons and put them in my desk. Oh, man. These kids are hard to read. Was blowing the shapes to rack the home I was building. I guess to wreck the home I was building. Next one was not sharing. Sitting at the table. And put a pencil in his mouth. Talking during reading. And farted. Somebody got tattled on for farting, Mike. And they didn't yell raccoon bacon.
Well, that's the problem. If they'd yelled raccoon bacon, they'd have been okay.
It'd have been fine. So, it was just, I thought it was kind of a cute little thing because it was just, it's a cute idea for this school. And, this teacher came up with, here's one. Let's see here. I can't. Oh, there's no good way to pause these or play the sound, I don't think. Let me see here. I can put them in. Yep, here we go. All right, so I can put them in this. I hit her by mustache, and she said, "Bitch, don't touch me." And I said, "Sorry." And she said, "Yo, mom." Sorry for the bad words. Here's another one. She keeps petting me.
She keeps on getting in people's business.
She doesn't mind her business. She keeps looking at what I'm doing. Even if it's private, I feel unsafe. Oh. Told me to stop chewing. Called my shoes ugly. God, I'm glad you can read these. I can't. She called me the B word. It hit me a lot. She told me to stop chewing with something with a noun.
Dog?
I don't know. It's chewing loud. Boy, there's a lot of concern about chewing in this room.
Well, it's a story. You got the title form for both sides.
Yeah, exactly. At least you got both sides of the story.
What all you eating? Graham crackers? Is that what the chewing is about?
Maybe it's like peanut brittle. Very loud. Very loud.
This ain't Wildcats. We don't have 17 pounds of peanut brittle.
And well, it could be worse. Another teacher, a substitute teacher in Texas, was caught turning the Texas classroom into a fight club. Now that could be more fun.
Well, there's no good way to say this without getting in trouble and pissing somebody off. Part of me thinks if sometimes it's just better to just let them go at it and get it out of their system. And in Texas, I think that's kind of a rite of passage.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with it happening on school property.
Yep.
Because then you are subjecting yourself to school rules regarding gambling because the house has to get 20%.
The shocking incident unfolded Wednesday at Kimborough Middle School in Mesquite on the outskirts of Dallas and was partially captured on cell phone video. The disturbing footage depicts desks in the classroom pushed into a circle to create a fight ring as pairs of 12 and 13-year-old students brawl, and the substitute looks on while admonishing the class not to film, saying, "I don't want this on record."
Yeah, well, guess what?
You should have collected all the cell phones at the start, if that's what you're going to do.
12 and 13-year-olds, if you tell them not to film, they're going to film.
Yeah.
And okay, here's the other. Now we're back to grumpy old man again. Why, when I was younger, if a fight or something happened, you either got out the way or tried to break it up. Your first instinct was not, oh, let me try to record this. Now something bad happens, everybody's first instinct is to get the phone out. And I don't understand it.
Our investigation revealed that this substitute teacher encouraged students to fight each other during class, outlined rules for the students to follow, and even instructed a student to monitor the classroom door while the fights took place, the school district said. Now, take a look. This is really grainy footage here, but take a look at this. This is the teacher. She looked.
She kicked somebody ass. She kicked ass.
She looked like she could be the manager for a fighter. You know.
Oh yeah. She's looking for the next meal ticket to sign to WWE. She's gonna be walking them to the ring. She's gonna be a manager.
Yep. Beatrice Martinez, whose daughter recorded the incident, told the local NBC affiliate, "I was devastated. I was like, I couldn't watch the full video. I had to stop it multiple times because I didn't think it was real. I was like, this must be a prank. This isn't real." Some students left the classroom bloodied. Martinez said her daughter reported, though it's unclear whether there were any serious injuries in the brawl. Who in their right mind, because I trust my child to go to school, but I also trust the staff to keep my kids safe. And then this lady, she is actually making them fight. I don't think she made them fight. She just encouraged them and said, hey, if you got a beef, let's solve it. You know?
Well,
check out the beat while my DJ revolves it. That's all she said.
There is a part of me that says the teacher is basically doing what the cool parent, quote unquote, air quotes, cool parent would do with beer. Like, okay, well, y'all are going to fight anyway.
Yeah.
At least if you do it here, I can make sure it doesn't go too far and somebody gets help if you all need it. But again, you did it in the classroom.
Well, it's not the first time school officials have been accused of encouraging or allowing student fight clubs. In 2018, a video emerged showing a substitute teacher in Connecticut high school egging on his students as they punched each other in a Fight Club style brawl. So basically, we've just franchised Fight Club at the middle school level.
But here's the problem with all of this is you can't standardize the rules because you don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Is they don't listen to rule number 1. Charges were also filed against the school superintendent and principal, alleging they knew of the Fight Club but didn't report it to police. Those charges were later dropped.
Yeah, well, that's one. How the hell I was getting in trouble? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Jack.
The first rule of Mrs. Garcia's class is you do not talk about Mrs. Garcia's class.
Class or ass? I don't know. Either one. She got a badonkadonk. What can I tell you?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so we're half an hour about from the movie reviews.
Yes, the wonderful movie reviews.
Yes. So I just wanted to say in advance.
Mm-hmm.
One of my reviews today is going to contain a lie.
Oh, is it 2 truths and a lie? Where you'll give us 2 true facts?
Part of the part I am making up part of the plot because it's more interesting than the actual movie.
Fair enough.
Man.
So, okay. Cool. I can guess which one.
Mama Blair says, our house was more of a take care of it yourself, and if you can't, come tell us. So you had a Fight Club at home.
Yeah, Blair Fight Club.
Blair Fight Club. I get it. Yeah.
All right. Since we're going to do the movie review, I feel like we should go through this. I found this list where they talk about 10 from Collider, 10 sci-fi movies with the worst science.
Yes.
Essentially.
Before that, Mike, I actually have 2 entertainment news things I want to get through real quick that aren't on the white sheet.
Right ahead.
The first one is today was supposed to be the premiere of one of my absolute favorite shows, MasterChef Australia. Unfortunately, one of the 3 judges of that show died yesterday.
Jerry Springer?
Don't know exactly what he died of, other than he had colon cancer, so it may have been that. He died in a hotel room, so we don't really know yet. But it was, the night before the premiere of one of the biggest shows in the world, Judge dies. So show's been delayed by a week. But worldwide, that's one of the biggest stories there. But we also have one very interesting story here in the United States. One of my other favorite shows, 911 on Fox, has been canceled.
What?
But they are keeping... Yes. 911 has been canceled by Fox and picked up by ABC. So...
Well, and on a similar note, my wife and I finally started watching True Lies. I don't know if you've
That's
watched
probably going to be canceled.
Yeah, it's likely to be canceled according to reports. But it's not bad. It's not terrible. It's decent.
Yeah, we watched the first episode. I was planning to get back to it. But here's what's weird about 911. So 911 itself is going to be on ABC next year. 911 Lone Star was renewed by Fox and will still be on Fox next year.
That is very strange.
It's thought that the reason why is 901 started costing too much because it's had enough seasons now that they've gone through the original contracts. So now they have to have new contracts for all the actors. And that raises the cost of the show, which is it's an expensive show. And Well, since ABC/Disney owns the show, they can better afford paying more for it on their own network. So Fox decided not to pay for it.
Oh, so is this kind of like an immediate type of Last Man Standing move where the studio that's actually producing it brought the show back to their own network?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that kind of makes sense then. Okay.
Although if Last Man Standing, I think it was originally ABC, and then it moved to Fox, and then Disney bought the studio. So when that one was very weird.
Well, it was canceled and it was brought back to
Fox.
No, I think it was originally on Fox and it went to ABC.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around. I thought Last Man Standing moved to Fox.
Well, we'll find that out,
Anyway.
I'm sure.
Anyway, those were the two interesting entertainment news things. Cause,
I hadn't heard that 911. That's one of our shows, too. So
yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah. Although I have to admit, we don't look at it in the same light since we started watching Chicago Fire. I kind of feel like it is more of a Disney theme to the firefighting genre.
I will say every time 911 gets too deep into plots about the actual characters, I lose interest. I want to get back to the silly things that they're going out and, stopping.
Fair enough.
So, Mike, getting back to your list here. So this is a list of sci-fi movies with the worst science in them. So
Yes.
I specifically wanted to cover this because we have talked about a lot of these, at least half of these movies on this show.
I like several of these movies. They're some of my favorites.
Yes.
So at number 10, a movie that I'm not interested in whatsoever, Prometheus. It's an alien spinoff.
So
what did you guys' opinion?
Prometheus was supposed to be kind of an alien origin story, right?
Yep.
And instead, it wound up trying to be some kind of evolution story showing how humans were created. And the storyline was just terrible. So the science part of it, I mean, yeah, okay. The fact that some of these scientists had no common sense, like, hey, that thing looks angry. Don't get too close to it. Oh, well, let me take my helmet off so I can get a better look at it first. Yeah, okay. You're a scientist. Come on.
All right, number 9. Now, this is one of my kind of favorite movies, The Day After Tomorrow from 2004. This is Dennis Quaid, Jake Gyllenhaal. This is a good movie.
It's a great movie with terrible science.
I thought that the desalinization of the ocean was actually good science. I thought that was science that nobody actually did talk about a whole lot.
The way that the world was freezing itself, that was the part that didn't. There you go. Well, as this article says, the most ridiculous part of the movie is when the characters try outrunning climate change on foot.
So, a couple
so you're
of things.
saying
First
ducking
of all, the
into
article
a Burger King isn't going to do it?
Well, the article is wrong because Dennis Quaid was going to rescue Jake Gyllenhaal in New York City. Not, right. I don't know who Austin Nichols played in this
Isn't
movie.
that the rich kid?
Yes. That was the rich kid.
And
so he is not the other son.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal wasn't going with him at all. Jake Gyllenhaal was there in the library. Right. So, yeah.
But the outrunning climate change on foot portion, that wasn't I think it's more the climate change happened in a matter of days versus running on foot. That was because they were at the eye of the eye of a storm.
Right.
Which
yeah,
the science behind how it was pulling colder air down from the upper troposphere, that might be, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, that's the part that didn't make any sense. You can't do that.
Now, okay, number 8. Again, a movie that I at least like the second half of this movie. The first half is kind of boring, but I like the second half of this movie. Moonfall from 2022.
Didn't we review this?
We did. It was one of our reviews. Halle Berry, Patrick Wilson, John Bradley. So it was a box office bomb, grossing only about half of its budget back. The idea was that the moon is a superstructure. It's not natural.
And no, we didn't review it.
We did talk about it. We all saw it that week, so we were able to talk about it. We didn't give it a grade, though. The thing about that movie is the science of most of the movie was terrible and didn't make any sense. The part of it I liked was the idea of the moon being a superstructure with this thing built into it. I liked that because it matched one of my absolute favorite books of all time, and not just because the main character of it is named Colin. And so it was the closest I was ever going to be to being able to see David Wimmer's Armageddon Mutineers as a movie.
I thought it was kind of it was a neat concept. It was I thought it was decent. You know, it was fun. It was a fun science fiction movie. You know,
but
number 7.
The part on Earth when the gravity was going crazy, that was the part that was.
Yeah. Number 7, again, one of my all-time favorites, The Core.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
This is
there's zero.
There's probably no reality in the science whatsoever. I will give you that.
No. From the geek kid reprogramming cell phones by doing a Captain Crunch whistle.
Yeah.
To being able to restart the entire Earth's core with a couple nuclear bombs. Yeah.
Well, to their point, they did use 6 nuclear bombs.
Well, the closest 7.
7
because they use the reactor to increase the mass. The one thing I think it did a good job at was explaining how the Earth's magnetic poles, and when he did the whole explanation with the peach and crust.
Yeah, he did a good explanation of the layers of the Earth.
Mantle, core. This is how the Earth works. This is what.
Yeah, that was good science. This is what causes
gravity. This is what causes magnetic pole. That was probably the best explanation I've had.
Yeah, I need more explanation.
Sad commentary on my life, but that's the best.
And lighters, yeah. And when he said, "Feel free to throw up," I know I did. I got it.
But unobtainium and the lasers, sonic lasers.
But the good.
I enjoyed the unobtainium. That was.
But the good thing about putting it on a credit card to get the points, that smart.
Doesn't work. That's what Oakley sunglasses are made out of. Unobtainium. It's trademarked, and their sunglasses cannot survive a fall from a bookcase, let alone going through hundreds of miles of the Earth's crust.
So
that's right. Part of my glasses, I don't remember which part. It's not yet.
Mm-hmm. Now the next one, number 6. Again, movie I like, but there's no reality on this whatsoever. Lucy from 2014 with Scarlett Johansson. ScarJo. Great. Great.
This was very. This was like if you took Limitless and multiplied it by a factor of 10.
Yeah.
Limitless was semi-believable.
This was Limitless and
these guys
John
were
Wick
hopped up
in
on
a
some
movie.
kind of. Yes. You know? Okay. Yes. Good way. Yes. Number 5.
But, no, to say, anytime a movie says that you only use 10% of your brain, it's like, okay, they really could not come up with an idea. They said, I'm stupid. I only used, oh, yeah, that's right. I'll do that one again.
Yeah.
The one that actually isn't true.
Number 5. The one that
ranks right up there with Red Matter.
The one that made tons of money, made Michael Bay a household name. It brought Aerosmith back to recognition. Armageddon from 1998.
Such a Michael Bay movie.
Now tell me, is the firecracker in your hand versus closed fist? That should be real science.
That is real science.
The idea of
that is the extent of real science.
If we are going to get rid of an asteroid, we should drill first and then put the nuclear bomb in.
There's more real science in that movie. When Watts says to Bear, if I kick you in the balls, and you don't have these thrusters, what happens? I float away. You float away. Yeah. That's science.
That is science. And
you both float away.
And all the
everybody
hoses
floats away.
And everything coming off of the thingy. Yeah, no, you don't want rubber in space. We know that. We know what the tires were made of on the moon rover. It was metal. It wasn't rubber. You don't have rubber in space.
There's no rover that's going to work on an asteroid. They don't have enough gravity.
Well, no, wait a second. The Chinese.
That's why they all had the thrusters.
The Chinese put a rover on a
where's all the fuel for the thrusters?
So we might. Nobody thought we'd ever put a rover on Mars. We put 2. So, never say never. We might.
There's the thing of the space shuttle, the fake space shuttles that were were firing the main engines as they were no longer attached to the tank of fuel that powers them, and we're going the wrong direction. The biggest problem with that is that people remember this movie and they do not remember Deep Impact, which was a much better movie of the same exact subject. It wasn't even the same year.
I think it was.
They were within months of each other.
But this one had Bruce Willis, and that one only had Morgan Freeman in it.
Yes, I rest my case.
Yeah, but Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis versus the voice of God. I'll go Morgan Freeman.
Next one is a Chinese
Was he the
film.
voice of God before that? No.
No, he was only God after.
But look at that's what I'm saying. People should remember that movie because now we know who Morgan Freeman is.
How dare you? Bruce Willis is sick. You can't say bad things about him.
So
he wasn't sick then.
Next one is called The Wandering Earth. It's a Chinese sci-fi show about how they put rockets on one side of the Earth to fly it like a spaceship.
Okay, I've read the summary on this list, and I said, my first thought was, this is the movie that Sunshine, or it's like the double feature that needs to go with the movie called Sunshine.
Yeah,
Sunshine. They reignited the sun.
They're
moving the Earth.
I think I had this on our list, but then I realized that it was subtitled, so I took it off. So
you know what? This looks like it's crazy enough that I would watch it.
You would
even
read
if it's
this
subtitled.
movie?
I would read this movie. Because like it says, it's so far fetched, but I just want to see them try to explain their way out of this one.
It is a extremely classic science fiction trope. It's like Moonfall. It's one that classic sci-fi covered, and I just want to see it actually happen in a movie. So I actually need to watch The Wandering Earth. I just need to figure out where to do that.
Okay, so next one, K-19 Widowmaker. Harrison Ford and Liam Neeson.
I mean, that's barely worth being on this list, especially number 3. I mean, what they're complaining about is that, yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to say, the big complaint is that if the reactor melted down, that the warheads would explode, which is absolutely not the case.
No.
So they were working. This is the argument that they were working to solve a problem that really didn't need to be solved. They could have just scuttled the ship and been done with it, essentially.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I thought, honestly, now, once you look past everyone's accents, because I don't know what part of Russia all these people were from, but nobody had the same accent. About the best thing I can say is the Russian accents in this movie were better than Kevin Costner's British accent in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, because at least they stayed the same throughout the entire movie.
I thought you were going to say his Russian accent in Hunt for Red October.
Sean Connery does not do accents. He just tells you where he's from, and you believe him.
Yeah.
And I think that was great movie making of, let's have this character with a dubbed-on Russian voice, and then we'll kind of pan over him, and then suddenly he'll be speaking English. And we just all understand he's really speaking Russian. We're just using the magic of movies to say that we can understand what he's saying. And because we're using the magic of movies, who cares if he has an English accent? And it's James Bond.
All right, so number 2, Underwater. I have not seen this film.
Is this the one with...
It says it's a sci-fi
Kristen
horror
Stewart?
movie that centers on a team of researchers who find themselves trapped and under attack by mysterious creatures after an earthquake destroys their underwater drilling station. As the survivors struggle to make their way to safety, they uncover a sinister conspiracy and must fight for their lives against the deadly beasts and the elements.
Yes, I watched this movie. And again, they're nitpicking. Well, I mean, it's a big plot hole here, but at 5 miles down, the amount of pressure, you don't have a leak.
Yeah.
The station implodes.
Well, it's kind of like, the movie The Abyss.
Yes.
They did good science there because, like, when he needed to go down the trench, they said, okay, you can't go down in a regular suit. You need to go down in a liquid-filled suit so that there's pressure equalization, because otherwise you will be crushed. And they actually
that's actually the problem here is, yes, you're that far down. Yes, the pressure of the water is that high, but what is the pressure in the actual station? That's what matters. If you have the air in there at 1 atmosphere, then yes, if there's a pinhole, you're all immediately smashed. But if you actually are pressurized from an air perspective, that's what matters. So what is the air pressure at? Yeah. Now, true statement is, yes, if you have air at that pressure, you're going to die anyway because of other problems. But you still have to answer the question of what is the air pressure supposed to be?
And then the number 1, which I think we all enjoyed watching at least, Pacific Rim from 2013. They didn't even pick the sequel. They picked the original. And they did not like that the scientists in Pacific Rim saying dinosaurs had 2 brains.
Okay. I always thought, and maybe I'm wrong, that the theory was that larger dinosaurs like Brontosaurus had a secondary nerve center, not necessarily a brain that was like capable of thought, but almost like a hub that they were referring to as a secondary brain. But even still, the kaijus were not dinosaurs. So if the kaijus had a secondary brain, they're different creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still okay saying that they did. The problem was there was a line talking about actual dinosaurs. But the thing is, that is an actual thing that people did believe at one point. We now know that it's, wrong. They didn't. But for purposes of this movie, maybe they did. Who's to say what the dinosaurs were like in the world of Pacific Rim?
So there is a myth out there that dinosaurs like the Stegosaurus had a second brain in their butt. Called the butt brain.
Well, and that's kind of where I was saying, like I guess maybe I stopped caring about dinosaurs when I got older, but I always thought there was a second nerve center that, like I said, was kind of like a hub, like a USB hub kind of thing.
Exactly. It was a belief for a long time. It is no longer accepted it's now considered a myth by the Smithsonian.
Paleontologists.
But yeah, I say, like I said, that's another movie. I'm like, why is this movie on the list? It's not really science fiction. You might as well put Star Wars on and say there's no such thing as a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Because, well, there isn't. But it's a world of magic. It's fantasy. You don't put this on this list. You put hard science fiction on this list, like Canine Widowmaker. That's an actual thing. If you actually find a nuclear bomb, if somebody planted a nuclear bomb in New York City and you found it, you don't stare at it and try to figure out what buttons to push or what wire to put. No, you get another bomb, you put it on the nuclear bomb, and then you run away and you blow up your bomb to make the nuclear bomb no longer a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, you want to pick apart a movie, pick apart Peacemaker. Or is it Peacemaker? Was that the one with George Clooney in it? I think it was called Peacemaker. Yeah, it was called Peacemaker. The Peacemaker. George Clooney, Nicole Kidman. That one, 1997. You can pick apart that movie.
Now,
or if you want to pick apart a movie, okay, pick apart The Martian. That you'll have a hard time with it because that was hard science fiction.
Yeah, there's only one clear pick apart on that, or two for the movie version. Or pick apart The Eraser. Tell me why those railguns don't work. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Here's one I'd like someone to genuinely pick apart for me. The Manhattan Project from 1986 with John Lithgow and Christopher Collet.
Yeah.
Where the kid stole uranium from his mom's boyfriend's lab and built a nuclear bomb to win the science fair in New York City.
And replaced it with PERT Plus at the lab.
Yes, or no, Alberto VO5.
I thought it was PERT Plus because it was green.
Alberto VO5 or one of the generic grocery store brands.
Yeah. Don't pick apart my science project and tell me the UFO's star drive wouldn't actually do that if you were playing with it.
Yeah. So,
or we could all pick apart The Explorer and say, why the hell does this movie end in such a stupid way?
Well, why didn't it ever get the sequel that it deserved?
Because Amanda died.
Huh?
So here's the best sci-fi movies, they say, as far as science fiction goes: Gattaca, Metropolis, The Day the Earth Stood Still, A Beautiful Mind, and Contact. Here's another one that says the worst: The Core, Chain Reaction, Volcano, and The Sixth Day. Now, I just recently rewatched Volcano. I liked it. I thought it was good. But it's Tommy Lee Jones. That is one you can pick apart, too. I'll say it. You can pick that one apart. It doesn't make any sense.
It's not the best volcano-related movie ever made. I'll say it there.
And
if
Chain
you
Reaction.
say Dante's Peak, I'm going to be very upset.
I haven't watched Chain Reaction with Keanu Reeves in so long, I don't even know.
Oh, well, yes, okay. Colin, I wholeheartedly agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, Joe versus the volcano. That's the best volcano-related movie ever made.
Yes.
Oh.
I was referring to the actress who played Cindy Mancini in Can't Buy Me Love, Amanda Peterson. She passed away. I thought she passed away a lot younger, but she was 43 when she passed away. It was in 2015. I thought that was the reason why they didn't do a sequel. Or
she was in the
because
Explorers?
River Phoenix passed away.
Yeah,
So, I don't think we've had a show since I did trivia. Did I talk about how trivia night went?
No.
Since we can,
you did not.
Just a few minutes. So trivia night went pretty well. I did trivia night for the Tri-City Library, which is a local district library here in Central Illinois, and we had a lot of fun. And so we had some interesting question rounds. I think I did some that I had maybe done before, but some that maybe were new ones. So let's see here. I'll pull up a couple and we'll see how well you guys do. How about that? So I will pull up we'll start with a round that I call the Popular Pups. Okay? These are celebrity dogs.
Bring it.
All right? So what animated dog was originally named Tralfaz?
Named what?
What animated dog was originally named Tralfaz?
I've heard other names for Scooby-Doo, but I don't think that was one of them.
Well, you're on the right path. It's not one of those.
I don't know if this one qualifies as a celebrity dog, but I'm going to go with Santa's Little Helper.
No, that is not correct. The correct answer is... one second here. I'm going to get Gideon's screen up here. Desktop capture. There we go. It is... come on. Flip, stupid. Astro from the Jetsons.
The hell kind of name is Tralfaz?
Well, it's the one before his name was changed.
Okay.
Considered to be one of the show's biggest merchandising characters, this Fox series animated white Labrador is voiced by the series creator.
That's Family Guy.
Okay, but what's the name of the dog?
Oh. Brian?
Correct, Brian Griffin.
Yes.
This one is difficult. It was really difficult to write, actually. Played by a dog named Moose for the first 6 seasons of the show, and then by his son Enzo for the remaining seasons. What was the name of this dog who was on this Emmy Award-winning show between 1993 and 2004? He is a Jack Russell Terrier.
I know the show, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Eddie from Frasier.
Eddie. Yeah.
What dog is best known as saying, "So-and-so is stuck in a well"?
Lassie.
That was my gimme question. What was the name of the in the show of the canine member of the Little Rascals?
Petey?
Correct.
Nice.
What German Shepherd accompanied Rusty in over 27 films in the 20s and became a TV star in the 50s?
Let's see. Is that Rin Tin Tin?
Correct. What is the name of the greyhound belonging to the Simpsons?
Yeah, Mike already said that.
Santa's Little Helper.
Very good.
Santa's Little Helper 2, or Santa's Little Helper 3.
What purse-sized pup came with Elle Woods to Harvard in the movie Legally Blonde?
Bruiser.
Correct. What golden retriever has been featured in movies playing baseball, basketball, soccer, football, and volleyball? Air Bud. Known colloquially as the dog star, what is the common name given to the brightest star in the sky?
Elon Musk.
Sirius.
Correct. Yay! Oops. So that was popular pups. So you guys did good on that. And I was actually surprised. I had quite a few people who got quite a bit of those right. So I was pretty happy with that. The other kind of new-ish category that I did was one called Bonded Pairs, where it was couples. So what are the names of the crotchety old men who heckle Kermit and the other Muppets?
Waldorf and Statler.
Correct. Even a divorce in 1974 couldn't keep this couple apart. They got married for a second time in 1975, making him her fifth and sixth husband. Who are they?
Let's see. It's Elizabeth Taylor and... damn.
Richard Burton.
Richard Burton.
This couple met in Taxi and have stayed together since 1981.
Oh, are they still together?
Yes.
I thought they went apart.
They're still married.
They're still married. Okay. So that was Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito.
Correct.
I couldn't remember her name.
Although not married, they are one of the longest-running couples in Hollywood and have recently transitioned to be a favorite North Pole duo in their Netflix Chronicles. Who are they?
Kurt and Goldie.
Correct. After meeting as bosom buddies and then being thrown together as volunteers, these two tied the knot in 1988 and are now one of the longest-lasting Hollywood couples. Who are they?
Tom Hanks and...
yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Rita Wilson.
Rita Wilson.
Rita Wilson.
This
I
fictional
she was on Bosom Buddies.
This fictional couple have a family who prefer the more macabre. She winds up her husband by speaking French. Who are they? Gomez and Morticia Adams.
Yeah.
What are the names of the parents in the show All in the Family?
Archie and Edith.
Correct. What TV couple moved on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment in the sky?
George
Jefferson.
and Louise Jefferson.
Very
Yeah,
good. And then who are the A&W of the A&W restaurants?
Oh, that's nice. I can't remember, but yeah.
Abercrombie and Westinghouse.
Allen and Wright. And then what do the M's stand for in M&M?
Mars.
And Mars and Murray.
Yeah, Murray.
Yep. So that was my dynamic duo, which was pretty fun. So yeah, we had a good time with those. So like I said, we had In total, we had On This Day, which is always a history one. We had The Bonded Pairs, Disney Doozies, short and simple. Colin, would you like to test your Disney knowledge?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I think this will be fun because you go there all the time. And so this will be fun to pit you against, let's see here, from current slide. There we go. All right. So, Colin, Mr. Disney. That's what you're just going to call your name, Mr. Disney. What is the name of the princess in Sleeping Beauty?
Aurora.
Correct. Who is the only princess to have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
I was making a guess. Say it's Snow White.
Correct. Who is the only Disney princess to have a tattoo?
That's interesting. I was going to go with Pocahontas.
Correct. I'm not feeding him the answers either. He's getting these on his own. What were the first words that Mickey Mouse said in 1929?
Let's see. That's Steamboat Willie.
Mike,
I can't remember.
What do you think they were? Mike's like, holy crap, we really went hard on this.
Nope. Get myself in trouble. I say anything.
I don't remember exactly, so I'll just go with the usual Mickey Mouse and say, oh boy.
Hot dogs would be the
Hot
answer.
dog.
Less popular than Minnie, there is a second female mouse character who is Mickey's sister. What is her name?
Oh, that's interesting. I do not know the answer to that.
Amelia or Felicity Fieldmouse. She goes by both.
That must be a comics character who never actually shows up in.
She shows up in movies too. Yep, she does. Who voiced Remy in Ratatouille?
Oh, dang it. I know who it is. Patton Oswalt.
Correct. Where does Lightning McQueen get stuck performing community service in the movie Cars?
Unfortunately, I have the wrong name stuck in my head, and I can't get to the pass.
Radiator Springs.
Springs. Yes.
Where was Walt Disney born? Mike, you can chime in on these too if you know.
I don't.
Chicago.
None of the stories are in Chicago, so.
What is Donald Duck's middle name?
Bartholomew.
You're closer than you think.
No idea.
Fauntleroy. It was on his draft card. What ride has a secret employee basketball court hidden inside of it?
The Matterhorn.
Correct. That's it. That's all of them. Wow. Colin did pretty good for just being just Colin. So, yep. Alrighty. We will now move on to our double feature movie review. And we will have to figure out when is Colin lying. So we will start out. We have two movies tonight. One of which is, well, actually, they're both Netflix, aren't they? They're both Netflix. One is Pauly Shore, and he plays a parent whose family was killed, and so he seeks revenge. And then the other one has, what's her name in it? And she stays at a guest house way too long. Is that it? Close. I'm very close, I'm sure. All right. So, Colin, which one would you like to start with?
I don't. You pick.
All right, Colin.
Mike picks. Mike, which
picks.
one do you want to go first?
Mike hasn't picked it yet.
Let's do peppermint first.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's going to be less discussion about peppermint.
Okay. So peppermint. Colin, we'll let you lead off. And go.
Okay, peppermint. Actually, this is a movie I watched, I think, a long time ago, and forgotten about. So I started watching it. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this movie. This is your standard revenge fantasy, like that Charles Bronson movie. Just parent loses family, parent goes crazy, and the system and bad people with money cover everything up. So they go and become Batman and travel the world learning how to kill people and then come back and kill the people. So I think what helps with this is that Jennifer Garner has lots of experience playing this kind of role. So you can actually see her on both sides of this character and find her believable if you ever watched any of Alias whatsoever. So that works. Sometimes we have some of this, it's almost always a guy, so it is nice seeing a female version of this. And I think they do a pretty good job. There's a twist here. You think one character is bad, it turns out they're not. The other character you thought was bad, it turned out to be good. I think they do a pretty good job of using your standard expectations from this kind of movie to actually mislead you. And that's always a good thing when they're able to do that. And in the end, if you're having trouble at work or whatever with the system bringing you down and not be able to get justice, this is the kind of movie you can go home and watch and live through somebody else's revenge fantasy. So there you go. I would give this. I'll give it a smile. It's not actually something I'm going to say, ooh, I want to watch Peppermint again. Because I don't think a lot of the actual getting revenge scenes are that interesting or that fun. It's like, oh, I want to see her get those people again. Sometimes these kinds of movies, you're like, oh, I'm just going to load this movie up. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I'm just going to do the best parts version. And this movie doesn't really have a best parts version. It is on its own merits. It gets a smile. There you go.
All right. Let's see here. I'll run next real quick. Okay, so question. Should this have been called Thin Mint and not Peppermint? Did the Girl Scouts, try and muscle in for a part of the action? I don't know. But the point is, it's called Peppermint. It should have been called Electra Part 2. This is a double jeopardy, John Wick, whatever you want to call it, type movie. All right, this is very. Mike said it on the last show. It's gunpowder milkshake-ish. This is straight out of those types of tropes. So it's not new necessarily. And as Colin said, Jennifer Garner has played this type of role before. So again, not new for her. But it is nice to see her in her element. I think she does this well. I think that there are some decent little surprises in the movie. I think there's some good points to it. I like the interaction on Skid Row. I like, the little kids. I like that kind of stuff that goes on there. The angel painting on the side of the building is very nice. I actually really like some street art graffiti. I think it can be very classy, and that just kind of, popped, and I'd love it if somebody actually made that into like a poster or something, because I think that was really good. But regardless, this is a movie where if you like the John Wick, the Double Jeopardy, the Out for Revenge, the Taken, those types of movies, you'll enjoy this. There's lots of action. You're not going to be bored with it. And I think that the movie finished fairly strong. I think that it did well for itself. I wasn't going to give away the spoiler at the end. Colin gave away the spoiler at the end. So, you can blame Colin when you figure stuff out at the end. But whatever. The critics gave this a bad score. It doesn't deserve as bad a score as what they gave it. It's a good, Sunday afternoon popcorn movie. It's not a family movie, though. This is not one to watch with the kids. This is a late night or afternoon movie, when the kids are at soccer practice or whatever. So yeah, watch it then. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll give this a smile as well. It was a good fun movie. So all right, Mike.
Okay. So, hold on. I gotta bring my sheet up here. So, full disclosure, like Colin, I had watched this movie when it first came out, because I loves me some Jennifer Garner. And there's a line in this movie in the very beginning, quote unquote, can't go around punching people who are jerks, then you're just as bad as they are. No. See, actually, you can't go around punching people who are jerks, because then you'd spend your entire waking existence going around punching people who are jerks, or you're going to be avoiding people who are trying to punch you because you are a jerk. Guy comes into her house, doesn't give a name, doesn't give anything, just says, I'm a friend, gives her this big old speech about it. And what was that line about punching jerks again? Yes, wad of cash. Of course, there you go. I love how she would, like, example where she destroys the entire piñata factory, gets to the one guy at the very end, and then just gets all calm and says, I have questions. Like a 3-year-old that just saw something they don't understand. Like, I have questions. Complete flip of the script there. The scene after the piñata factory, this was the point where I realized where the twist was going to come. So that's when you want to start paying attention if you haven't been paying attention. And then I remember being very upset that it wasn't until like 3/4 of the movie is done that Method Man shows up. I was like, dude, I thought he was in this movie. Where's he been? Where you been hiding? Yo, Meth, what's up? I said that I compared it to Gunpowder Milkshake, and I think Colin may have alluded to it, but this is kind of like the bastard love child between Gunpowder Milkshake and John Wick. And as much as I would love to see some kind of crossover where Riley winds up in the Wickverse, I know that's never going to happen. So until then, I'm just going to enjoy this movie for what it is and give it a smile. I also agree. This is not a movie that I would be like, oh, nothing good's on. Let me just go put peppermint on. I'll watch that. And they called it peppermint because that was the flavor ice cream that the daughter got.
I know. I just thought that it was weird. There's one mention of peppermint, but there's 2 mentions of Thin Mint. They dropped the cookies on the way out to the car after the bitch ran them off. The spot. Yeah. And then there was one in the stocking at the vein.
Oh wait, were they? Well, there was one in the stocking because the neighborhood can't put ice cream in the stocking.
Well, I'm just saying.
Wait, what were the? Hold on. Because now I'm curious if.
It's a green box. It was Thin Mints. Everybody knows Thin Mints. Come on.
No, I know that.
They may have said Firefly Girls, but everybody knows Thin Mint cookies.
were they Firefly? Is that what? That's what I was going to look up. Did they call them Firefly girls?
Yeah, they didn't say Girl Scouts. They said Fireflies because
No, because I thought maybe that the troop was called Peppermints, and that's why. Okay, no. But anyway, they couldn't call it Thin Mint because then they'd have to.
Yeah.
They'd have to pay royalties to the Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
Well, the Girl Scouts would be unhappy with the way that their den mothers were being portrayed
as true to life. True to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say territorial.
Bitchy cheer moms. Yeah, true to life. Exactly. So now the next movie up, Guest House, which has like an interesting cast, right? I mean, it's kind of a bit all over the place. So we're going to start off with Colin again. And Colin's going to tell us what he thought of this. So, Colin, you obviously added this to the list. So tell us what you thought of Guest House.
Oh, yeah, right. We all know who put this on the list. So, Guest House. This is a movie that stars Pauly Shore. He lives in a guest house. He's basically he's a poor man's Hugh Hefner, and so he lives in his house. He has a pool, and then he has parties at this pool. So yeah, a big chunk of this movie are scenes of him partying, him having drugs, him having lots of naked people just hanging around out in the middle of this house that doesn't really have high walls that I could see around it. So yeah, I assume that the Playboy Mansion had walls around it so that people were just out in the middle of nowhere with no clothes on. But that's what happens here. He has these parties, and the cops come, but they work for him too. And so like I said, he's Hugh Hefner, and he's living the life of going out and finding every drug he can and trying them out because hey, you gotta try every one, I guess. It's like Pokemon. But then into the main house, this couple move in. This couple with let's see. Played by Mike Castle and Amy Teagarden. Amy Teagarden plays the standard annoying wife character, and Mike Castle is playing the standard put upon husband who keeps getting nagged to do things, but he can't bother to do them, so he continues to get nagged. And so this, he was in, she hates Pauly Shore, but Pauly Shore is Hugh Hefner. So, and then, the husband is, or I guess fiance at different times. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So this continues for a while until, the fiance just, cannot deal with this annoying wife anymore and then murders her. And then he sneaks by Pauly Shore wearing gloves and a big knife. And then somehow he has to take the gloves off and then jump over a fence and leaves them there. And then there's this whole thing of him being in jail. Like, oh, did he kill the wife? Did he not kill the wife? And Pauly Shore is like, oh, I just was here and didn't see anything. And he gets away with it. And Pauly Shore decides that being Hugh Hefner, he really should just be on a boat. So he gets on a boat instead. And then the guest house gets turned into a man cave instead because, the guy doesn't have a wife anymore. And then he hears at the end that maybe Pauly Shore is going to be back, but, he doesn't want to do that because, this could be their party. There he has to clean the pool again. And that's a lot of grief. And, yeah, that's the end of the movie. So yeah, that's Guest House. The story of Kato and O.J. Simpson, I guess, was the part of that one. I'm going to give this one. I was going to.
Are you going to give it a doesn't fit?
That's not going to be a puke, but it's a terrible, terrible movie. I'm going to give it a
white Bronco. Are you going to give it a white Bronco?
White Bronco. I'm going to give it a glove fits. Don't quit. No, it's just going to be a verb, I think, is the.
Okay.
Don't watch this movie. It's just going to rot your brain.
All right. So, Guest House. So this is Pauly Shore being today's Pauly Shore, mostly, not mixed with playing a part of yesterday's Pauly Shore. So yesterday's Pauly Shore was Biodome, Encino Man, Son-in-Law, crazy Pauly Shore. So this is today's Pauly Shore, acting like yesterday's Pauly Shore, because he wasn't sure if he wanted people moving into the house that was the main house of the guest house that he was staying in. Is what this comes out to be. So he causes all kinds of trouble. It's a little bit reminiscent of another movie that I can't remember right now, but there's a lot of drugs in this movie, like a lot, like an obscene amount of drugs in this movie, like more so than comfortable amount of drugs in this movie. And this is an R-rated movie, so again, not for kids, but yeah, this is not a movie that you want to watch probably with anybody. This is probably just a movie that you want to watch by yourself, just to say, hey, listen, Pauly Shore is still alive. Who'd have thunk it? And go from there. But yeah, this was. I mean, I don't know what the original script looked like and how much they ad-libbed and how much they didn't. But I will say this: Amy Teagarden before this was best known for playing parts in Hallmark movies. I will now not see her in a Hallmark movie exactly the same. I will always think of, when is Pauly Shore going to break into this Hallmark movie? And that will make watching Hallmark much more enjoyable. So for that, and that alone, I will give this movie a meh, because it gives me a good feeling for Hallmark. All right, on to Mike. Maybe. Maybe not.
These freaking movies suck. I see character Douglas Masters, his father in movie, played by Billy Zane. I think Guest House, Billy Zane, have somebody who flunk out of Air Force Academy. Doug Masters now live in L.A. from Iron Eagle. No. Mr. Shitade pissed off. Get Pauly Shore bullshit. Not even in the army now. Bullshit. No. This movie, very confusing. See, the fact that Blake, the husband, Blake, get excited when wife call him pro-man dude. Sexual identity, plus he smoked from cock bong. Very sexually confusing. Then delivery guy Chris Kattan show up. What? and wife, fiance attracted to him. He very strange looking man. The thing about this movie, yes, many boobs, much boobies, much drugs, but there is one thing in this movie that Mr. Shithead will have to smack Shaggy next time we see in person. Mr. Shithead have nightmares about Flacca Possum. People, listen to me. If you thought shark movies scary, you thought cocaine bear could be scary thought, this is a possum that will eat your nut sack. Scary as Mr. Shithead no sleep for 3 weeks now in fear Flacca Possum live under bed. Avoid this movie because of Flacca Possum. However, it man make me do public announcement about possums. Because possums have lower body temperature than most other mammals, bodies do not provide suitable environment for rabies virus. So possums 99.9% of time do not carry rabies. We spoke of wedding vows earlier in show. If I am ever at wedding where toast includes raise your glass to performing fellatio, Mr. Chete tried to keep it clean. Very possible that was in toast at cringy patchouli wedding. Now, there is a look on Sarah Master's face when they're fighting. Look something like this. If women ever give you that look, you have two choices. You can turn and run, or stand your ground and kiss ass goodbye, because she is ready to snap. This movie absolutely not family friendly due to nudity, due to Bobby Lee, Asian dude, walking around naked. Other reason Mr. Shithead hasn't slept. Not family friendly movie due to drugs and nudity. In some ways, movie was entertaining, but Flacca Possum kill it. Mr. Shithead will go with Colin opinion and give this verb.
All right. So, time to pick the movie for the next two.
Oh,
go ahead.
Someone answer me this question.
Uh-huh.
Who was selling the house?
The old
Pauly
sellers,
Shore.
you mean? Oh, yeah. Pauly Shore was the original seller. Yeah.
But why was he trying to keep the house from being sold? That was the thing. He said, I was back here being so, because that way I was trying to make sure to keep people from buying it. Then you came and bought it. I'm like, why did you sell it?
Not finish movie.
No, it's all in the end.
No, I finished the movie. It got to the end, and he explained that was actually his family home.
Yeah, but he couldn't live in it, but he didn't want to sell it.
That's what I was trying to figure out. He said he couldn't live in it, so he was living in the guest house. Mm-hmm. And then he was back there, and he said that he was hoping no one would buy it, but then you came and bought it. So I was thinking, well, if you're hoping that no one was going to buy it, they were setting up to say that part of the reason he was back there acting so bad when people came to see the house was to keep people from buying the house.
No.
But if that's the case, who was selling the house?
Yeah, maybe he felt obligated to sell it, but then, didn't have it in him to sell it. I don't know.
And if he was selling the house, if he owned the house, then they would have seen his name on the deed, or on the contract when they bought the house. That's what to say. Who was selling the house? Because it can't be him, because he would have been on the contract.
He had a penis bong. You're looking too deep into this movie.
I'm just saying.
He owned Napoleon head and kept in pool house.
Oh. All right.
This movie go on list of scientifically unfeasible movies.
All right. So how about number 31?
31. No, we're actually at 28 because I had to fill in gaps.
Okay, 28. Here we go. Number 11.
11. What? Put this on here. Is it actually on here? Okay. It's a kids movie.
Oh, all right.
On Netflix called Night Books. Well, I guess we kind of needed to mentally balance out the... All right.
All right. And number 6.
What in the absolute... Hold on.
Oh, I remember Night Books.
Nope.
Okay. Ooh, Night Books is like a kid's horror
Number
movie.
6.
All right. Number 20.
Unavailable.
Number 20.
What in the hell? Is this on? Yeah, it's here. Okay. Also on Netflix, Metal Lords. Teenage Coming of Rock. Who is putting the... Shaggy.
What? I don't remember putting it on there.
When is the next show? Are we doing?
I'm not taking responsibility for it. I just don't remember doing it. All right. When are we doing the next show?
You know what, dude? We got to do 2 weeks because there's a chance I have jury duty on the 8th.
Oh Jesus! Okay. All right. So we're gonna do the 15th. So we will do the 15th. We'll be back on the 15th, folks.
I will not be there for the 15th.
Then we will come up with another day, and we'll arrange it. So no big deal.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Yep, we'll figure it out. But we're over time. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in, listening, and helping us out with the show. Don't forget to tell everybody that you know about PTR Radio. That's the only way that we grow the show. Don't forget, you can check out PTRradio.com on your favorite social media networks. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and as always, YouTube. Also, you can go to PTRradio.com. It's our website. We've got all the information about the hosts as well as our broadcast schedule is up there. Don't forget to sign up for our podcast. That is available on our website, PTRradio.com as well. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in and being part of the show. We'll keep you all updated on the social medias when we're going to be on next. It'll be sometime after the 15th. After Mike decides that people need to fry for parking tickets. So, all right. With that said, folks, I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I am Mike the 8-Man.
Stick a fork in this, folks. We are done. Later.
With the revenge of a monkey.